And another thing is like social life, socializing, going out, relationships, spending time with people, or
and see, I think this has changed.
Want to play some art? Is it cold up there?
Yeah, it's kind of nasty today. It's like probably in the high 40s, low 50s, and rainy. So it's an inside day for sure.
Inside day. It is here too. You recording?
Yeah, we're in here.
We're recording. Yeah.
Live.
Welcome, gamers, non-gamers, PvEers, PvPers, and even NPCs. We do not discriminate. This is the New Wave Gaming Podcast. Welcome back, everyone. Chuck T, what is up?
Not much, man. Just kind of enjoying a good Saturday morning here. Got some biscuits and gravy in me and chilling downstairs here in the studio.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous. Biscuits and gravy. That's not just, you don't find that too often down here south of the border.
God, is there an option still yet? Didn't we have some at a pizza place there once?
Every now and then we'll find it on a menu, few and far between, but down here you're not going to find too many biscuits and gravy. Gosh, I love that. I love biscuits and gravy just as much as I love Taco Bell.
Yeah, it's not even all over the United States. I think the South is it's a little more prevalent. Like I think you could probably find it in any state, but it's definitely like they're going to knock it out of the menu here. I probably had 6 places to choose from this morning.
You'll find some good biscuits and gravy there in that Black Bear Diner in Southern Oregon, right off the I-5. I tell you what.
Yeah, God, there's a place in Asheville you can get a flight of gravy. Like,
what is that? A flight?
Like
sounds like
when
too much gravy.
You go to a bar and like they'll have like beers, and you get these like little maybe 4-ounce version of each beer to try or something like that.
Oh, I see.
It's almost
like
a gravy sampler. Yeah, you get like red eye gravy, chicken gravy. I think they even have rabbit gravy.
I don't know how I feel about gravy and sampler being in the same sentence.
Yeah, they'll have some veggie options and sausage gravy I think is king. We kind of go down from there.
Oh yeah, we could go down a gravy rabbit hole, but we've got gaming to talk about. Everyone, this is Chuck T here, ChukTomahawk. In case you didn't know him, my name is Ovox. Happy to be here with you. We both are happy to be here with you.
Hell yeah.
We're just gonna have a little fun today. I think we kind of wanted to discuss gaming as adults. That paradox, Chuck.
Yeah.
Like when you're a little kid and you're like, man, I don't want to have all these adult rules. I want to have my own money and buy as many video games and play them all night long with my buddies and have a sleepover with beanbags and pizza.
Nobody can tell me when to go to bed.
Nope. Bunk beds and shit. And then you grow up.
Yeah.
And it just isn't like that.
No.
Yeah, you grow up, you're an adult, you've got the money, you can get the games, you've got the games. But a couple things happen, don't they? At least for most people. I don't know. God. Not everyone experiences this paradox, I'm sure. But
you definitely just unlocked the memories I had as a little kid. I think I would dream of that, like having a big video game set up in my home and like maybe a subscription to Playboy or something hitting the mailbox out there.
Hell yeah, back in those man, Easy Rider. I bet half the listeners don't even know what Easy Rider was. Man.
Can't wait to get older.
That was the Playboy for bikers back in the day, man.
Wow, it's like, it kind of had its own vibe going, but I would imagine my life, that I would be, maybe getting that, like say, getting that subscription every day, every month, and just giving
when I
it
grow
away.
Up. Something. Yeah. So, that's funny, man. Matter of fact, Chuck and I were playing No Man's Sky yesterday because there was a recent update, the Fractal update. I remember Sean Murray posted the snowflake emoji on Twitter, and everyone was, getting all excited. I was too. update came out, and we were playing yesterday, and I was showing you that technique, Chuck, on how to expand chlorine to sell it on the market.
Dude, that money's burning my pocket right now, to be honest with you.
So Tomahawk's got his first couple of million on the old No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is a really fun game. If you've played it, you know it's deep and very fun, especially if you're into sci-fi and space exploration. But if you haven't played it, just real quick, you mine oxygen and chlorine, and you can use a refiner to expand the chlorine, basically create more by combining it with oxygen. And it's a 6-to-1 ratio. So for every 1 chlorine and 1 oxygen, you're going to get 6 chlorine back. And you just take that and you sell it on the market, the galactic market, and you make a bunch of money. So I was showing Chuck that we were having fun. And I was just thinking, in relation to this whole gaming as an adult thing, the last time I had done that, I gathered a bunch, Chuck. I got a ton of oxygen. I went to that refining station I took you to, and I just stole all that guy's. I was just raiding his storage units for all the oxygen he had. Mm-hmm. There was nobody else there at the moment. Mm-hmm. And then I went, and I had like maybe 200 chlorine to begin with, and I turned that into, I don't know, it was like 10, 15 million units. But in doing that, man, there was a point there where I was just kind of like, I had the controller in my hand, and I'm sitting on the couch. And I'm just kind of watching the refiner go, My left eye starts twitching a little bit. Then my right eye starts to go, and then before you knew it, man, I kind of just dropped the controller and I was passing out on the couch. Headphones on. Visualize, listeners. You know what I'm talking about. Just totally like... Refiner's still going. Finally goes out. Refining done. I'm just there on the couch. Can't do it anymore, man.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
How many times have we broken that rule together?
A few. Yeah, it seems like, at times I have it under control, like how long I'm going to game. I'll kind of, set a schedule out, but it almost seems like sometimes the games are designed to power right through that. That's a good example of like, I wanted to get that done. I think with each time that chlorine's expanded, there's a little dopamine hitting your brain there, and like,
oh yeah, you're like, look at all the chlorine.
Yeah,
give me more.
I'm literally making money here, and it kind of addicts you in there, because you start feeling like this is, future me is going to be glad I did this. I'll have this money to spend and get new toys in this game and move forward. It's a strong draw to keep going. Like, obviously you push through like sleepiness and all that.
Well, there's a huge hour difference for us, man.
Yeah.
So it doesn't hit me quite like, I remember last night or yesterday you were saying, yeah, I'm going to go to bed at around, I'll be on until about 10 your time. But when all said and done, man, it was more like, it was way past 10.
I know. That does concern me sometimes. I would do that again, but like there was a while there with ARC where that was happening to me like every night, and I got my days and nights kind of mixed up, and yeah. I think the productivity kind of falls apart. Like for me at some point too, like you notice how I'll be standing right by you and you're like, hey, follow me, man. And I'm like, where are you? like that doesn't happen as much when I'm rested. It can happen at any
You're like,
time.
what do you mean? I'm right here. Oh, yeah. That happened yesterday, too.
You said,
oh, man.
What's the name of that?
I can't find my ship. It's marked on the screen.
Well, you just had said like, "Hey, I'm going to install this terminal." What was it called? The trade terminal thing? I was like, "Hey, what do I do to get that thing?"
That's right. In the process of crafting, Chuck crafting that chlorine, to be able to sell it, you need that galactic terminal to the trade market. So I asked him, like, hey, man, I have enough resources on me to craft one for you and put it in your base. Where do you want it? Do you want me to put it on the back wall? And he's like, yeah, throw it up there on that back wall. And I go and I throw it up on that back wall. And then about 20 minutes later, Chuck's just like, I really need to get one of them galactic trade terminal things so I can get rid of all this stuff. Steam started coming out of my ears on the other hand. I don't think he's...
Yeah.
Go to bed.
That's how addictive that watching that chlorine expand is. Like I think, I was watching that and focused on that, dreaming about what I was going to buy with it. And, I was thinking I'm going to have to get up on that freighter and sell this stuff, at some point. And, and I did hear what you said, but I was thinking, maybe it was like another way to warp, somewhere or something. And I was just kind of like, yeah. Because
whatever, man, put it up.
I hadn't saw that thing in the building menu, so I assumed that they had kind of changed its access. Maybe we couldn't build our own anymore or something. But I should have known because you had one in the freighter. But yeah, that's a testament to how like kind of the world you're in. Because I was just literally, if you could have came here and stood behind me, it's like on my screen. Even though I've got all my oxygen in there and all my chlorine, I'm just sitting there watching it go up. Soon I will have millions of dollars.
Yeah, but I think the funny part is that while that's all going on, it's that at least on my end, man, I'm very conscientious of the hour and going to bed, realizing okay, I'm starting to lose, falling asleep on the couch. I had never really experienced that until recently, personally.
Yeah.
But as a kid, you're able to just I remember having sleepovers with my friends and literally staying up until, 3, 4 in the morning, man. Like that night when we did that raid, and remember the raid in the cave?
I do remember the raid
in
the cave.
Tell me about it. Remember when you were explaining it very well the other day? You're like, we were just doing nothing.
Well,
and then it was 4 in the morning.
They were obviously super technologically advanced, and we were chipping away at them, soaking their turrets, but... I think at some point we did something silly, we forgot something that we had just went to get, kind of thing. And I was like, man, how did we do that? And you're like, where did that? Because it's 4 in the morning. That's why, you get kind of loopy, after a while. But,
oh man.
Yeah. It is kind of hard to control that endpoint sometimes. I can't completely get a grasp on that, but. Yeah, that's part of being an adult, I guess. You gotta take that by the horns.
We just don't have the same energy, man.
Well, we
got to get that 8 hours. You don't necessarily. As a kid, absolutely, you should get the 8 hours and all of that stuff. It's not good to stay up late ever, but when you're a kid. Oh man, especially back in the day, man, when we were experiencing the Sega Genesis and the Nintendo 64 and all that stuff, or even a bit back a little bit more for you with the Commodore 64 and the Intellivision and all those. What would it be? Second, third, and fourth generation consoles that you got to experience.
And my parents would. During the week, I had a bedtime of around 10 o'clock. I had to be in my room, in my bed, and I maybe could be watching TV, but they typically wanted me, kind of to be fresh for school and everything. And I will say, like something I'd like to point out, like related to this, especially as I become, a more and more older adult, is somewhere maybe in my late 30s, I even when I used to work for the Forest Service, at times we'd get called out to fires and things like that. And but normally during the week I would get up around 6:30. Well, when I was young, if I stayed out, all night on a fire, that I didn't have to go in the next morning because of that, I would sleep till noon or something. But as an even older adult, it's like no matter what time I go to bed, I wake up at 6:30. So that's the time of sleep you're gonna get. It seems like sleep is a little harder to come by as an older adult.
That's nuts, dude. You're so right about that.
Yeah, I feel it sometimes, when we're talking about it, because you can twist my arm a little bit, and be like, come on, man, what is that, 10 o'clock?
No, because if it's 10 o'clock, no, you're right. I take it back. You're right.
Yeah, it's
especially on a weekend, man.
Right, it's
Come
easy.
on, you're retired.
And I think in the back of my mind is like, damn it, I'm going to stay up till 2, and then I'll sleep, from 2 to 6:30 or something stupid, And
you're right. God dang, you're right. You're so right about that.
Yeah, it's like especially as a kid, man. As a young kid, if I had stayed up all night, even like other activities, like me and my dad fished all night, or did anything like that, like I could sleep till there could be all kinds of stuff going on in the house. Mom, there was a dryer and washer right by my room. None of that shit woke me up. I'd sleep right through it and come out of there feeling fresh as a daisy.
Man, the good old days.
Yeah, but as an adult, I don't know what that is. Like, I'll lay there and try to go back to sleep, but I just can't. You start, I guess, I don't know, thinking about things, and your body's just kind of in this rhythm, I guess, by then.
Yeah, you wake up and you're just, you're total zombie mode, just kind of like, well, I guess I should play some Ark.
Get some coffee.
No, you're 100% right about that. Hey, were you ever like, in the field in the Forest Service, and you may have been like during the GoldenEye days when that had just come out and there was a Nintendo 64 in every camp?
Yeah.
Like, fire ain't that bad. Maybe I should. Well, maybe I should just play some more Gold. No, I'm just kidding.
I shared that story in another episode when we were in a place called Pioche, Nevada, and they had an N64, and we were kind of staged for. There were a bunch of fires going on, and they had enough people to fight the ones they had, and we were there for initial attack, and so you're basically just sitting there waiting for a new one, and there was kind of like a little bit of rain here and there, and so we were just sitting on our hands there, basically, waiting to go, and yeah, they brought that thing out, and yeah, it was incredible to have, 4 people playing at once, and probably 14 more watching and commenting on everything that was happening, and that kind of thing. Yeah, for sure. And of course, we always had handhelds, like I think the color Game Boy, like we're talking 1999, 2000, somewhere. The color Game Boy was the
go-to.
Yeah,
the Game Boy Color.
Yeah, you'd have. Probably Tetris I would be playing back there, and I'm trying to think what else.
No, dude, Pokemon games, dude. Why would you be playing Tetris when you could be playing the
Pokemon games? I had this.
Dude, those games were the shit back then, dude. Yellow, red. I don't remember all the colors, but there was the yellow, the red, and the blue. I think, I believe, if I remember correctly. But dude, those games were the shit, dude. You play as Ash.
I never played them. Most of what I know about them are from the cartoon, like the Nintendo cartoon. I think there was something called the Nintendo Kid or something. He had like a belt buckle that was a gamer controller, and
yeah, I don't remember that, but it sounds about right. Sounds about like those times.
Yeah, it was something like catch them all, and like he would. Yeah.
Well, the main dude was, I think his name was Ash Ketchum.
Okay, yeah.
And the cartoon was called Pokemon. So I don't know. You might be talking about a different one that was related with Pokemon. I don't know. The Nintendo Kid. Yeah, that doesn't sound familiar to me, but it may have been a different cartoon.
Yeah. But either way, and I had this other game called Skate 720. I think on my color Game Boy there. It was super fun. Yeah, you kind of went from like the half pipe, and when you could it had a little open world part to it, and these bees would get after you eventually if you didn't go to, kind of go on with the story, sort of.
Do you remember that snowboarding game on the Nintendo 64 called 1080?
I do.
You just reminded me of that when you said 720.
That was fun as shit.
Man, I remember pushing the buttons hard to get that 1080, man. You really had to slam some buttons. You really had to finger bang the shit out of the controller to pull that one off.
Rightfully so. It is... Wasn't there like a big ass jump at the bottom of the mountain, like where
that's where you'd pull that thing off?
Yeah, like where everybody could see it. Yeah.
Start to just smashing all the buttons, and probably wouldn't work out, but
yeah. There was an arcade cabinet one that like you actually stood on a snowboard. There's one for skis.
I remember that thing.
Yeah,
I remember those. So what else? Gaming as an adult, man. Something that I always struggle with. I don't know if you do, but like. You'll you'll be at work, you're productive, you're kicking butt, you get it all done, you go get all your other stuff done, whatever it is that you do, you get it all done, and it's a productive day, and then you get home, you got this time left to do a little bit of gaming, and then you hop on there, and guess what? Inevitably, you feel like you should be doing something more productive, and you're just wasting time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still, even though... Like, I really got to cross some thresholds in a day to not feel like, a scumbag. Or well, not a scumbag, but you know what I mean? Like I'm not wasting time and I'm sitting there getting some No Man's Sky or some Arcane or Warzone or whatever it is.
You're dead on, dude. I have this little routine that I do nearly every day where I come down, kind of after I've had breakfast and coffee, all that thing got squared away. I'll come down and I'll kind of look at the news on my computer for a little bit. Then I'll practice guitar, and then I'll take like some time to do some chores. Like I set like an alarm for 15 minutes. I tell myself like, I know, if I don't feel like doing it, I'm going to start, doing something productive, like, whether it's washing dishes or, any kind of like daily chore for 15 minutes. And a lot of times I'll keep going on that, but there have been times I just do it for when that, that alarm goes off. But then after that, I feel like I have permission to play some video games, like
after 15 minutes?
Like I said, that's like just a starter. Like,
I guess you are retired, man. You haven't.
Yeah, that's something to make me get started on being productive. And like I said, many a time, like the alarm goes off, and I might continue for 2 hours. Doing that that one project has led to another, and I get some things done. But yeah, I kind of need that to feel good about really getting immersed in that game, especially like these ones that we play. Because I think something we should point out is not only are we getting older and changing, is that the games are changing. There's almost like a lot of them are made to make you daily involved in it. Like if you think about it, like even
dude, it's Warzone. Like they're designed like these apps are being designed. They need to keep you on the platform.
Yeah, there's like daily challenges. There's maybe a skin that goes with that daily challenge. There's this like fear of missing out, the FOMO as they call it or whatever. It's like
is our base getting rated? It's purge weekend and we're podcasting.
Yeah.
Get back on.
Well, yeah. And it's like everybody going to have that scan, because they all went and did that mission today and I didn't get to be a part of it. And now I'm going to be the guy standing there in the standard issue one, and you guys all look like a movie character.
Looking basic.
Basic as fuck. Like
baff. looking baff.
Yeah, there's just
that's our new thing. That's another baff episode.
Oh yeah.
Basic as fuck. I like that.
It's true. It's kind of like they keep that constant engagement sort of going,
I don't know why I like that a lot, Chuck. that baff crew. You miss out by the BAF crew.
Sitting there, in Warzone, that standard issue like thing.
Yeah.
Because I remember one time we were playing with Pepe Tortilla and you guys were talking about your gamer cards or whatever, and I still had the one that came with it,
It's like MW on there.
Yeah, y'all were just talking y'all's up, and finally it kind of got quiet for a minute, and somebody said, like, you haven't really worked on yours, have you, Chuck? No. And I'm acting like funny. It's like my choice, but secretly like I have no clue how to do it. I'm like, that's probably in that barracks area over there, I'm sure.
Oh man, yeah. Just switch the tab in the menu. Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so
what else? What else comes to your thought processes about gaming as an adult? The paradox.
I remember this comedian used to say, one thing that keeps coming to my mind when we go back on this, is like, he was talking about playing video games, and he's like, I got 10,000 points on Pac-Man, and he's like, You can put that on a resume.
Sorry. Yeah.
I remember, like, when there's a part like the Forest Service, you go through this thing, USA Jobs, and it's kind of automated now. Like it's an online sort of resume builder of sorts. And then there's this one part, like, extra skills and abilities that haven't been addressed in this. It's like got 4K hours of ARC, a lot of tech.
I'm a billionaire in No Man's Sky. I make a lot of money in fake worlds, not that much in the real life.
Sitting on around about 10K of chlorine right now. They're in No Man's Sky. I'm on freighter. I'm a pretty big deal. You might have heard of me.
Do you know what an alpha tribe is?
I'm known as ChukTomahawk online.
Yeah. Yo soy Ovox. Y mi amigo ChukTomahawk. Presentes.
Es muy importante.
Con permiso.
Es el jefe de Internet.
Internet. Oh my God, just stop.
Right, yep. Don't encourage
Alto
me.
ahí, cabrón.
Don't encourage me. Yeah, that's the secret. If you don't know it, you just add O or E, like some Spanish sounding thing. But yeah.
Yeah, so that's something else right there. I'm trying to think other characteristics of this paradox. Definitely feel like, and this doesn't, that last topic of like feeling like you're wasting time, that doesn't always happen. I don't always feel that way, but quite often I do. It's like, and then another thing is like, social life, socializing, going out, relationships, spending time with people, or
and see, I think this has changed.
Want to play some ARC?
It's like,
go get some kills.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. I feel like a lot of those opinions were formed when there was no online multiplayer, and the fact that, we're kind of in a social situation on there, like it kind of changes that a little bit. Like it's not so isolating as if I just was down here with an old NES, hammering away, trying to speed run Kung Fu or something.
Oh, you mean like in terms of relationships and being able to interact with people online?
Yeah, I almost feel like there's
it's different.
Besides that you should possibly be doing something productive, you could be doing something, building relationships and things like that, in real life kind of thing, like, seeing friends, helping friends do things and that kind of thing. But at this point, I get about the same out of that. I feel like, as like the time I spend with you guys on there feels good, just as good as time I might, if I called one of the guys I went to college with and we went and got some coffee or whatever. Like, to me, the social interaction is very similar.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said there. It is like, I would definitely stand with you there and argue that, like, I have some sincere quality times with my buddies in playing video games with them, multiplayer online, Mm-hmm. But I think there's just, and I'm not sure, I'm no scientist, but I think there's like a lot of like psychological, like a lot of different psychological things happen, in your brain when you interact with real people in real life in real places,
mm-hmm.
And what life can throw at you while you're out there having those interactions, like. If you're playing a video game, any nuance or spontaneousness or destiny, we'll call it, that life would throw at you in real life, well, anything that happens like that in a video game, while you may enjoy it in that moment, it's just in the video game, and if when you're out there interacting in real life with people, a lot can happen, you know, like, you never know what's going to happen. And then and so while I definitely stand with you there and like, be like, yeah, I get a lot of value out of my interactions with my community online gaming. I think there's something to be discussed there when it comes to the topic of, is a gamer sacrificing something in regard to real life interactions, relationships, conversation, all that. It's interesting.
Yeah. I think, because one point to point out is life is always played in permadeath mode. Like we kind of only get one life in life.
Hey, man, getting all deep.
And video games, like it's less consequences. You know what I mean? I mean, you can respawn and like you see people. Like every now and then I'll see a YouTube video or a TikTok video or something where it's like, boy, this guy was in Grand Theft Auto mode or whatever. Like, it's like someone in real life steals a police car and takes off with it and, kind of thing. Like, it's almost like as if they're playing this game of life if it has those lesser consequences. And
dude, that might be the name of this episode, The Game of Life. Damn, Chuck. Keep going, man.
Yeah, so I think there's often been an argument that exposure or becoming comfortable with, say, things like violence, like we're using guns in modern warfare and stuff, might transfer that over to real life. Like you might not, it might blur like how you understand the consequences of, violence and things like that. Possibly using them in self-defense or something. And yeah, so I think. Are you
touching on the video games causes violence argument?
It's a common one. I'm just saying that like that transition, and are the interactions online like how does that all balance out? And I think we started into it, talking about social interaction online versus social interaction in person, but I think you could sort of transfer that to a lot of different aspects of life and both arenas, really.
Yeah, well, I think that's a little bit down a different line of discussion, and but it is an interesting reality nonetheless. I mean, I think as an adult that's got his things got it all together, an adult that's got it all together and isn't like to say the least, is really not struggling with those those differences and the video game experience versus real life and so on and so forth. And what, obviously video games, dude, it's from one angle, it's just like any other form of fiction or media, like a book. You can pick up a book and find the most unreal, heinous, beautiful, diabolical. You can find anything in a book, and know that it's a book. That doesn't mean I have to go out here and do these things or whatever. Same with a video game.
Yeah.
It's all angles and perspectives, I think. But yeah, I kind of see what you're getting at there. But what gaming as an adult though? What else comes to mind that kind of bounces or pushes against what it was like gaming as a kid?
I'm thinking of balance. It's interesting how like even like too much water is bad for you in real life. Like you can actually, if I drank water till I got sick, like there's some sort of moderation balance type thing. I think that probably is in play in both places. That I understand way more as an adult than I did as a kid.
Oh,
as a kid,
dude, that's such a great point, Chuck. Sorry, I didn't mean to, but I see what you're getting at here. I see what you're getting at.
As a kid, you kind of got parents that are keeping you on the rails, and it's like,
hopefully,
yeah. If they're not, they're not squawking about this or whatever, I think I kind of knew it was going to be all right, and I think there was a sense that the future was going to involve more and more computers, and at least this is, some engagement in that world. And that kind of thing, but also, yeah, there needs to be some balance. As an adult, you realize that I can't do this all the time. I can't.
Like there's no way, like it's just not even a factor. Like it cannot, it has to be balanced. Yeah. Man, that's such a great point, because I do remember as a kid, while I wanted to play video games all day and I wanted to go and get all the games and I wanted my parents to get me that system and get me the other system, they were actually, and I think I've mentioned this in prior episodes, they were actually quite, I don't know what's the right adjective, reserved about it or something. You know, like they, you know, they weren't just dishing out video games. Like it was very held back. You know, I got a Game Boy eventually, just the handheld one. Eventually, you know, and then Nintendo 64 came our way. Like it was very like they were not just spoiling us with video games, to be perfectly blunt. But I do remember having friends, you know, in Oregon, that did have, like, you know, I'd go and stay the night at their pad, and it was a very different dynamic in their household. They did have tons of video game systems, and I don't like to use the word spoiled, because you know spoiled can have variations, but like in the regard of video games, they were in a way spoiled, I guess I could say. Like they had all the games and all the consoles, and that's not to say these were like wealthy people. These were all you know same range as us, I guess I could say, middle class, lower middle class, you know, in that range. So it wasn't like they were spoiled and you know, but they had all the games and stuff. And I remember that particularity that you're mentioning, like the balance. There was the floodgates were open with these kids. Yeah. with some households. Like there was no like they were gaming, you know.
I think the question
you could see their imprints in the carpet where their body would be laying all like day from, you know, like the silhouette of the body just from laying on the carpet playing video games. You know what I mean?
I do, and I feel like my parents and your parents were right on the same page. Like I think my dad's, you know, sort of view of it was similar to yours, and I'm wondering, like, how do you think you would be different today if maybe that had been different, like if it had just been like super encouraged and you know, maybe you know your parent was into it as well, you know, kind of thing. Do you think you would be different today in any way?
Man, what a great question. The real Vulcan, if you're a Star Trek fan, the real Vulcan logical answer to this question would be, it's impossible to answer that question because there's no way to know. That'd be like this straightforward, boring answer. But if I had to speculate, if I had to come up with a very positive guess, I'll come up with a very like wishful thinking opinion and then a very like not so good opinion. Like if I had had gaming all around me as a young kid, like with no limitations or balance, maybe possibly I would have hopefully in a positive way engaged it and created a career around it in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. You know, like convincing them of what gaming would become and how there would be a lot of actual career paths around it, opportunity around it, content creation around it, and I would have hopefully taken that path and gotten the support in that path, perhaps up to a point until I turned 18 or whenever I'd begin, you know what I mean? And like created a life in that direction, like, you know, because it would have been great, man. Like as I'm right at that age group where if I had like done something with gaming on YouTube when YouTube just started like coming out back in like what was it, the early-ish 2000s?
Been like the first streamer or something.
Oh, dude, if I could only turn back the hands of time. But, you know.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm stoked because here we are doing this badass podcast, you know, for our listeners. But hold on. Let me finish now. That was the positive thing. On the negative side, like of what could have happened if I had never had any balance with video games as a young kid, you know, it could have just devolved into part of what could have made me a very lazy, unproductive minimal effort. I mean, it could have gone down, it could have contributed towards a very negative path, I suppose.
Yeah. I do feel like being in Mexico, maybe it was a little bit different. I think because I'm picturing, I know from my experience, like when I first visited there, like maybe just because I was on vacation, but I certainly spent way more time outside and a ton less time watching TV, kind of being in that environment and enjoyed that as well. And I couldn't help but think that extended to video games as well. It's like beautiful sunshine there. It's nice and warm, a good part of the, you got the beach right there and like lots of interesting people kind of coming through that are visiting and things like that. Like,
and all of that crumbled when I introduced you to Ark. Because your next trip to Baja after that, what happened?
I brought a video game system. I brought a PS4.
You fucking flew all the way down with a PS4 in your backpack and Ark.
My booty hole, in my prison wallet.
I remember when you got here, you're like, "Hey, man." It's like, "Yay, Chuck, welcome home. Welcome back to Baja." You're like, "Yeah, I'm going to go get my surfboard dusted off. And oh, yeah, I brought my PlayStation 4. I'm going to set it up in the big palapa."
Dude, honestly, when I think of that, it's kind of weird now. But dude, I went to the store and bought a TV, I think it was $88, like a small TV, and I bought a chair. Like I bought an office chair. Just
to play video games under a palm thatch palapa in southern Baja. You gotta love it. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the New Wave Gaming Podcast.
A whole herd of cows came. Remember that one night we were playing and all those cows came in and we're trying to get those mangoes out of those trees and the cows have bells. Like one of the lead cow has a bell. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. 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 I think for me,
that's one of the positive things about being an adult and gaming is you can I'm going to take my PlayStation 4 to Mexico with me. Fuck it. Parents ain't going to let you do that as a little kid when you're traveling to the West Coast to see your grandparents or whatever. You know what I mean? Mom, can I take the Nintendo 6? No. You nut.
You're going to
get in the damn plane. No, we're going to spend valuable time with our family. God.
I hate to say it, but one angle I could take with this is I think there was just like a rebellious nature in me. And I think if my dad had super supported it, that I would have probably rebelled against that at some point. Especially when I was 18 or something, if he had tried to push me to excel in it, maybe I think he did that with football and hunting and fishing. Like we certainly bonded over a lot of those activities. And as an adult, I loved doing them with my dad, for that nostalgia factor and bonding with him. But I also took them for granted in a large way because of that. We have one of the most awesome hunting farms you could possibly hope for that, is over multiple years, decades has been set up for, habitat and things. And I take that for so much granted, even still today. And I love to bring my friends there and let them experience it. But if I'm there alone, I don't, do it a lot by myself. And I think video games I might have had that reaction a little bit. I think there's always each generation has to sort of establish itself, and it seems to want to, be different. Like if our parents wore long, bell bottoms or whatever, we wear skinny jeans. It's just kind of that's just sort of like a thing. So
you got some skinny jeans in the closet there, huh? Or bell bottoms for that matter.
Being a little bit more rotund, I'm more of a bell bottom guy. Like skinny jeans on a big dude, kind of. You look like Grimace or something there. From should be asking, where's Ronald?
Oh man.
But yeah,
I see what you're saying.
I was a little like that, and the things he told me not to do, I certainly wanted to do them. to some degree. And I think video games fell into that a little bit. I think for him it was a pretty negative thing, like a waste of time of sorts, and maybe I could have been doing something more productive, especially things like that would help the family, like mowing the yard or stacking some wood or things like that. But I knew it was important, and I don't know that I thought of like the benefit that I got from recreation from it. But for me, I think at this point, when I think of that balance, it's like when I spend that time socializing with you guys, and I kind of have that other world that's sort of like a positive, happy thing in my life, it enables me to, do other things, like show up present, like for other things, like when I have to take my mom to the doctor or something like that. It's like I've had some fun somewhere else. It creates this balance of sorts.
Yeah, that's great, dude. I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so
that's good.
So I think of it in those terms now, and I'm thankful that my parent probably did it the way he did it. I don't know that I would change it, and I think he really just wanted me to be a well-rounded person and not kind of go berserk in any one direction. And and the games are so much better now. Like we do go crazy about the like the retro and the nostalgia, but I have to say, man, like the way we can play together, like how seamlessly that works, and
so you're not gonna switch out your Ark for the old Battletoads, is what you're saying, even though you love Battletoads, but I don't know, Ark's pretty dope.
No, even I think there's been times like we've all been busy here and there or whatever, and like there was a time period there, maybe I wasn't playing with you guys, and typically I would just play FIFA, and it would be a couple games and I would be done. These survival games have a different, like we covered that in our survival episode. They have a different hook that
they hook you right in the mouth cheek.
Yeah.
Right in the mouth cheek.
They rip a lip. Yeah. So.
Oh man.
But
tell the truth.
I go ahead.
No, say what you're gonna say, because I was gonna go on to another adult
I feel like
gamer
one
thing.
angle I want to take is I recently tried to explain to my mom, like I spent a good deal of time, we touched on, I was out of town there with my mom, and we were in a hotel together, and I had my Switch and I was playing Ark, and there was just a ton of downtime. She was looking at her phone and watching TV and that kind of thing, and I have my headset on, and I kind of see her trying to get my attention, and I get off, she's wanting to talk, and I kind of shut it down, and we talk about what she's wanting to talk about. And I was like thinking about the Ark, and I thought, I'm just going to tell her about it. We've got this time or whatever. And I told her from, very
Your
beginning.
Mom's like, what in the fuck are you talking about? Looking at you like, fucking
got a guy here.
My grown ass adult son. We're in this place. He's telling me about some naked man waking up on a beach next to a Bronto.
And I'm like, it's like the real dinosaurs, Mom. I was like, it's historically accurate, to some degree. I'm learning about dinosaurs.
The drakes come out.
And I found that I wanted to overemphasize that, how I was actually learning something, and I also took a long time to explain how that stuff that I had just been working on was there and was vulnerable to attack. Because I felt like she was almost getting this vibe like he doesn't want to talk to me, why is he so distracted by what's going on there, and I just broke it down for her. And I think obviously was like, hey, obviously you're way more important to me than any, I can put the Switch up and it's no big deal, but here's what's making me want to be back on there right now, and
yeah.
It's
like, I see, I've got this real estate I'm looking after, Mom.
I just spent,
and
just spent the last hour looking for chitin to build a saddle to get a pterodon, and I almost called it a petrodon.
Again, like the old days.
Yeah. And,
how do you get one of them petrodons?
A pedon.
Well, Chuck, see, you need these trank arrows and a saddle. Man, I just remember those days. Sorry, man, I didn't mean to stop your mind.
That startup is one of my favorite parts of the game. Like I guess because I've done it so many times now. But
we got to have an episode about that someday where we just talk about like Arc, get it out of our system. We need to have another Arc episode.
I agree.
Talk about that feeling when you first start the game, dude. Anyways, keep going about what you were talking about with Mom.
Well, and I think like a bigger angle of this is like, what is it like for you when you do you ever discuss with non-gamers like sort of what's going on? I had a friend that I used to work with in town this week, and we had tons of time to talk, and I'll explain it to him every now and then, like a little bit about what's made it so interesting for me and that kind of thing. But it just it seems really hard to relate to someone who's never played. Especially like most people have played a video game, but a lot of people haven't played an open world video game or a survival game in that respect. So I don't know that he gets it really.
Yep. That's a good question, but I got an easy answer for it. And I kind of gave up on all that stuff, man. If they're like non-gamers, it's just not worth bringing up because they're not going to have a point of relation to kind of even begin to get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
With someone that is a gamer, if, in the right moment, the right opportunity, the right context, and the right conversation, you can bring it up and kind of come to like, because then there might be something valuable at the end of the conversation. Mm-hmm. Be it them going, oh, that sounds fun, but it ain't really my style, or oh, that sounds fun, and I'm gonna check it out. There's an end to that of some sort. But when you're just like, and I say this from experience, like, and this includes with family. It's one thing to. Let me finish my first line of thought. There is that with someone that's not into gaming, there's just no. There's nothing to. I mean, you can certainly have the convo, but you're probably going to come to an end of a conversation just with nothing there, really.
Not a lot of substance, yeah.
It's like it's just like why like it's just like any other topic. Why would you talk about something with someone that they have no? I don't mean to say that because conversation is conversation. You can talk about anything with anyone, but like I think if you're going to have the conversation about something like that, like survival games in particular, you'll get more out of a conversation with a gamer than a non-gamer.
Yeah. Well, let me up the stakes just a little bit and say
it sounds weird to say non-gamer.
Well, but let's say
of our intro, it's a non-gamer.
It's a potential significant other, or it is your significant other. I kind of I'm having some memories of I was in a long-term serious relationship, and I think there was sort of this air of like at times like maybe she felt like I was wasting time doing it to just a little bit, and I don't know that I went to a ton of time to explain it to her or anything like that, but I've saw YouTube videos, maybe TikTok videos that maybe someone will say something to the effect, this isn't exactly my view, but that a woman can't stand to see a man happy. And so when they see a man playing video games, they have to attack it in some way. And I have to say some of her behavior sort of went with that. But I will balance that by saying like occasionally like with the Wii Fit, like we played a lot of that together too, and had a blast, like playing that. So that was my experience, like being in this, like where I actually lived with someone, and it was just near impossible for it not to come up.
Well, you just got to find someone that shares that as a common interest. Like we have friends that we game with that game with their significant others.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. And yeah.
That's a hard one though, to find someone out there that, I mean, at the very least, your significant other, this is totally related to gaming as an adult. So we're right on topic here. But like, I mean, that's got to be something that you consider, if you're going to date someone or be in a relationship with someone, they need to, at the very least, be okay with you spending an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Everyone's different. Gaming, I don't know, per night, per week, per month.
Yeah.
You got to fit that in, dude, and you got to be honest with yourself and with your potential significant other.
And I feel like I have sort of like a blueprint or template that I'm looking for, or characteristics that I'm looking for in a significant other, and I don't know that it is that they play video games. I think definitely they can't be negative against them. Like I think that would be a red flag or a point against for me if they, were really negative against them. But I don't necessarily.
Well, yeah, because if things go wrong, next thing you know, that console's going to be flying out of your second floor window, hitting you in the head.
Oh, dude.
Can you imagine?
It's more subtle.
PlayStation 5's big, dude. That thing will hurt.
I think what my last significant other that I lived with would do, it would have fallen off while like dusting or something. She would be much more subtle.
Yeah.
Like I had this George Foreman grill that she didn't like, and it magically fell off the counter. Like
you had the old George Foreman grill.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. That thing was awesome.
Dude, he got rich off of those things, dude. Not that he wasn't already, but
she didn't like it, like because it just kind of took up too much counter space, I guess, at our place, and I would use it like, probably a couple times before I'd wash it, and just, being a dude kind of thing with it there, I guess. And, yeah, I don't know.
Dude, I'm a dude and I wash things when I'm done with them. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're right.
You nasty.
Yeah. But I will say,
I get it.
When I think about this relationship, we were together probably 6 years, and by the end, like she actually bought me Battlefield 4 one Christmas, and like,
what a sweetheart. That's a great game.
She bought me an Xbox Connect at one point, and
even though that sucked.
Yeah, I know it gets bad reviews. I have pretty decent memories.
That's because you're a sweetheart, ChukTomahawk.
Dude, one of the things about the Connect that no one talks about, like I know this is a little sidebar, but
we're kings at sidebars.
It kind of like recorded everything going on in the room, so the crazy shit I heard in the background was way more entertaining. Like. Just any number of things, like it's not.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go down a different path there for a second.
Yeah. I don't have a super specific example, but I just remember, like hearing people speaking Spanish in the background or something. That just all sorts of little like slices of life that you got to experience. From different other people's like you could. There would frequently be like people yelling at the person in the background to get off that game and stuff. And you can tell like. He's holding his own with it. That kind of thing. He's like, I'll be down in a minute.
I remember hearing stuff like that in the death chat on Warzone.
Yeah, I think those are neat little slices of life that we hear. But
neat little slices of life.
That's a good way to put it, I guess. But I think as an adult, like. I maybe had a girlfriend when I was a little kid, but it was much, it was about holding hands, like while we were waiting for the bus at school or something like
holding hands and sucking face.
Yeah, a little bit of dry humping in there.
Oh, dude,
a little dry docking.
Slow down. Dry humping.
Yeah, I was just gonna make a point and move on. You got me started.
Right leg starts vibrating.
Well, it's like in that adult version that I'm talking about. Like with that little girl, all I had to do was, we might have talked on the phone or something. But we just saw each other at school. But once I had my, possible future wife that I was living with, like there were all sorts of responsibilities. She's looking at a yard that needs mowing and the trash that needs taken out, and all those other things that life wise is kind of there for you. So it's I think as we go through each of these things, it's a little more complicated as an adult. I mean, we do have the money now. to buy these games. But as far as the time and the free time, especially, it's limited, and there's always other things, that you have to balance with it.
And you just touched on something. One other adult gamer thing that comes to my mind is when as a kid it was like, God, man, video games are like $60, and the only cash I had was what I got from my weekly allowance. Back in the day we had those allowances that our parents would appoint. I think we talked about this in an earlier episode that I remember mentioning that I don't know if allowances still exist these days. But so that was the kind of dough I was rolling around with. We were talking about, maybe $5-10 a week, something like that. Mm-hmm. Maybe 15 if I was really rolling. And you'd like not eat at lunch at school to save money and get the next game you'd want to get. You'd like grandma, or you'd go see grandparents, and grandpa would be like, "Here, son, take this," and he'd like pass you $5. Don't tell your dad, don't tell your mom.
Hell yeah.
Here's $10. Here's a 20. You'd be like, damn. And it got to a point when video games came around that you wouldn't be spending that money on the ice cream truck or ice cream van coming around. You'd stash it. A game would be coming out like, I don't know, Star Fox or what was one of those? There's another game that I saw that caused me a lot of nostalgia.
Beat 'em and eat 'em.
Driver, I think it was. Driver 2. Whatever game it might be, as a little kid, you'd start stashing the dough, whatever it take to stash the money to get the game. And stash. And then we talked about this in our buying video games episode where, you have to then swindle a ride off of some familiar parental to get into town and, walk into the whatever store, Target, the mall, Walmart, Fred Meyer's in my case back in the day, and get the game, right? So now having money, we're able to buy whatever games we want, but there's also the time dynamic, having the time. And then I don't know about you, man, but with technology as it is and how games have advanced, I've got, I don't know, like 150 games in my cloud and only like 3 of them downloaded. And I only get to play a couple whenever, you know what I mean? Like this is what I was, a long-winded version of what I was getting at is like, now we're here, now we're adults, but like, I've got more games than I can deal with, and I'll find myself, it'll be like PlayStation subscription. You get 2 to 3 free games a month, right? Usually 3, I think. And I'm just, every month that goes by, I'm like, oh yeah, boy, I'm downloading this, save, yep, buy, take it, because they're just free games.
Yeah.
That's unheard of back when we were little kids. Free games, these are like badass games. Like the last one I got was the Fallen Order, Star Wars Fallen Order, Jedi, whatever. Dude, it's amazing, But I've got a library filled with games like that. I've got my Steam. It's got like 6 or 7 games that I haven't even touched yet.
Yeah.
Adulting is real in the gaming world.
Honestly, I personally feel like you're better at managing that than I am. Like I feel like just sort of like a game whore. Like I'll buy just about anything. Like I can see a TikTok video and be like, damn, that looks fun. And like, I'm willing to buy it and try it. And it seems like you're a little more discriminating with your dollar. I can see the end result probably is the same. Your Steam account is jammed up like mine, and maybe there's some games that you've only played a few hours.
Yeah, like 5% completion.
Yeah.
If I've opened them at all.
Yeah.
Dude, there's AAA games on my cloud right now that I have not even opened, man.
I do find that, yeah, it's I think for me being like not having kids and maybe something else that might prioritize that money, it's just so easy for me to let it go. Like getting that Nintendo Switch is a great example. Like I probably got it 6 months ago and I used it maybe I don't know, 5 hours or something. I'd played the Mario game a little bit in my bed at night. But, you know, on this trip, it came in super clutch. Like I was gone for 2 weeks and, you know, got more into it than I ever have. But was it really a justified purchase in my world? Like probably no. I'm not going to use it like I should, you know, kind of thing. And
yeah, but
really
hey, dude, you have adult money though.
I know.
Like I don't know. I think literally, like if I've told you 10 times, hey Chuck, check out this game, you should get it. Probably 9 out of the 10, you've been like, oh fuck yeah, guess what, I got it.
Yeah.
He'll message me like 20 minutes later, got it, and I was just like, oh, I was just like. Watch a video first. Got it.
Yeah. I think that's it. Like you're a little more discerning. Which I'm glad you did,
because I wouldn't recommend a shitty game to you. So
true.
I don't feel like I've screwed you at all, but
no, I
do like to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I do, and don't think twice about it. I mean, it's just kind of like I see a lot of my money go out to things that, you know, are bringing me some happiness, like bills and things like that, but nothing does it like a game. Like that joy that I get from that money.
Say, bills bring you happiness? Everyone that just heard that was like, what the? I
know. So it's like, it's something I'm genuinely excited to spend that money on. I think that's one of the tougher things as an adult. Like, I don't know that I realize, like you're talking about, you had that allowance. You never thought like, hey, I'm going to put this in a college fund for myself when I get older. Like you thought, dude, like instant gratification. As soon as I get the, you know, $60,
the freaking monkey brain comes into effect,
$40, whatever it takes to get this game, I'm throwing it down, like, you know, and as an adult,
God, you're right, man. I wish I could turn back time.
As an adult, you see a lot of money go out for insurance and things that, yeah, it's a smart thing to do. It's part of being an adult and being responsible and you know, taking care of your business, but it's not just pure joy like a game. And you know, I think that goes back to that balance thing that I'm talking about. Like, it's what, you know, spending that little bit of money there, like I got no qualms with it, like at all. Like you know, I think if I started showing up short in other places, I might take a step back and be like, wow, I could have, you know, done this. And one thing that's different, as a child, there was a pretty decent resale market for used video games. So the cost could be supplemented in some way like that. Typically, like, especially GameSpot, like, played very low. You know, when we traded that thing in, you got a very low amount of money. But the way we have to download the games today, like that's gone. Like, you know, all those titles that we have, like in the past, if I looked over and was like, okay, I haven't played that, you know, and I'm not gonna play it, obviously, like, or I would have done it by now, I could box that Bad Larry back up and go down to game. Whatever.
Yeah, but did it, like, I never did that as a kid. Did you ever actually do that though?
I did. Really? I'd get a stack.
Oh, no shit.
I'd get a stack of Xbox games and I'd go to GameSpot, and I was a member there, which got you this magazine each month and also more credit when you traded something in. They're much better about giving you store credit than actual cash, which makes sense in their business model. And
yeah, of course.
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest with you, the numbers were low. Like you would literally have to trade in 15 games to get one new one, essentially, in value. So I think, like, looking back, it probably wasn't a great deal for me, but it at least existed. It was part of the equation, and it's not now. Like you know, I mean, these files are. Luckily, I was excited to see the PS4 ones transfer over to the PS5. Like, that gives me some, you know, like, I feel like I've held on to that value a little bit, especially through that change and everything. But that's a little different, and that's part of the calculus, I think, as, you know, as an adult managing your money. It's a little different these days. It's almost like I'm changing, you know, is going from a child to an adult, and the video games are changing as well. So there's a lot kind of happening here that factors in.
It's an evolution, man. It's a new wave gaming.
That's right.
And hey, you know what? That might be a good spot, I think, to call it an episode, unless you've got anything else on your mind. I don't know if I don't think I've forgotten anything. I've kind of touched on.
That feels pretty good. I got some notes here. I'll double check real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, those are all dirty jokes. Okay, no, never mind.
Oh, damn. Oh, yeah. I was like, wait a minute. Is that a yellow pad you're looking at, or
legal pad?
or Post-its? You got any you want to share with our gamers and non-gamers, PVers, PvPers, and even NPCs before we call it an episode?
I'll put it here at the end so you can cut it if it's too bad or whatever.
Oh gosh. It's staying in. I'm just kidding.
Do you ever make hummus? You know what hummus is? Like,
oh, I like hummus.
I do too.
But no, I've never made it.
You know what it's made out of? What do you call what it's made out of?
Yeah, I'm cutting that out. Oh,
sorry,
God.
man. This is just what I'm working with. I had a little bit of. I made some notes earlier, and that's what it was. That was note.
Or maybe I'll just beep it out and leave it as a mystery.
It was note number 1. So I think I'm done. Yeah, you're right. I should quit while I'm ahead, but
yeah, definitely cutted that out.
Being an adult.
We'll leave it as a mystery. Everyone's gonna be like, "What was that?" Anyway, hey, dude. Thanks for your time today. And thank you, listeners, for your time. We hope you had a couple of laughs with this episode. It's a little bit shorter than our usual ones. And actually, let us know if you like these shorter episodes. Just shoot us an email or let us know on, where are we, Chuck? We've got the email. That's ovoxandchuk@gmail.com. You can also hit us up on Twitter. I started a Twitter for us. It's twitter.com/@NWG podcast. So that's going to be a new way to get a hold of us. We've also got a Facebook, which I think is the same. I think it's or no, that one's actually longer. That one's facebook.com/@New Wave Gaming Podcast. All one word, I think. And we've got a YouTube as well. And that's
my bad. Well, I was trying to.
It's all good.
I was looking for our TikTok there. Do you have it memorized as well? I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but
I don't remember it. But it's okay because all of this stuff will be in the show notes and the episode description, whatever you want to call it. So you can hit us up there. But yeah, definitely let us know if you like these shorter episodes. This has been a really fun one, dude. I've really enjoyed this conversation today, man. So yeah, thank you, Chuck.
Yeah, you too, brother. That was fun. And, let's try to be adults.
Yeah, let's try to be adults. Let's try to keep a good balance, everyone, of gaming in real life. Gaming is an amazing thing. We all love it very much, but it is also very important to, stay healthy, get out there, have relationships, get some sunshine on the skin, get that vitamin D, drink plenty of water, stay active, get after it. And enjoy life because it's we're only here una vez, mi hermano, y mis hermanos y mis hermanas. We're only here una vez.
Can we call this vitamin G? Get a little bit of vitamin G, a little vitamin gaming in there.
Oh damn!
Don't forget,
dude. Now that's what I want to end the episode on. A little vitamin G. Yeah. Thanks again, everyone. Hit us up on the social media or via email. Any recommendations or any love you want to shoot our way, we'd love to hear from you, and we'll shout you out on the podcast. And we'll catch you in about 2 weeks.
That's good. All right, everybody have a good couple weeks and see you soon. Peace.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.